between Eric and how do you think Bill would respond?
I think that it's very difficult to get away from the rangy Swede at the end of the table. I'm not sure that Bill is going to just roll over and let it happen. So I think that he's going to fight his hardest and maybe not be quite as polite as he has been up until this point.
Now, a character that we're seeing some really big changes with is Tara. And Regina, why don't you tell us what it's like playing the softer side of her this season?
I definitely enjoy playing the softer side of her just because it shows a lot more of her vulnerability. I mean, I call Tara a hard flower, like she's got this hard case on the outside, but yet she's this delicate Juliet on the inside. And I think it's nice for everyone to see that part of her, because obviously she wasn't taken care of as a child, so I think this season you're seeing her being taken care of by Marianne's character, and I think that's sort of a nice thing to see for her. Even though people miss the fiery, feisty anger, it's nice to see another range.
Okay. And Alan, as we've seen, there's going to be a lot of action coming up in the second half of the season. As a writer, how do you balance all the action with the close emotional relationships that this show has come to be known for as well? How do you balance those two things?
I actually make a joke about us having a sign in the writer's room that says, "It's the emotion, stupid." We don't actually have that sign, but we might as well, because without that, all of the action and all of the crazy set pieces and all of the, craziness in the world is just going to be, it's not going to have a heart, it's not going to have a soul. And so, we just really work really hard to always remember who these characters are, what they want, what their passions are, what they need, what they're fighting for, so that the other stuff has a foundation, an emotional foundation, and I think that's one of the reasons that I know that's one of the reasons I responded to Charlene's books as much as I did, because that was very much true of her books, and we're just trying to do the same thing with the show.
Okay. All right, now, and a source of a lot of this action coming up is Marianne. And Michelle, I wanted to ask you, especially for this crowd here at Comic-Con, they know you from other shows in the sort of in the sci-fi fantasy genre, and we've seen you play some very powerful women, and again in TrueBlood, a very powerful woman. So why do you think this genre lends itself to female characters who are this powerful?
I think the genre gives a lot of freedom to see things that could be possible in the future, and that is women. Mary McDonald and I spoke a lot about this on Battlestar. She's a goddess, by the way. And I think that it just sort of opens up it takes a lot of the cliches out of our minds. We're able to have more freedom in our thought. And I think it's just a very forgiving genre, and especially on this show, everything is so heightened in one sense, but the beautiful thing about Alan and our writers is it's so grounded in emotions, and I think we're seeing an entirely new love for these different genres.
Okay. And Nelson, everybody loves Lafayette. But Lafayette is having a little post-traumatic stress disorder these days. He's been through quite a time. How would you say his worldview has changed since he had his pretty bad experience down there in the basement?
Well, I think Lafayette's hustle is supreme. And he's figured out that it's not going to work for him to get him out of the situation. And that's something that's foreign. So now I think he's rethinking his hustle, and maybe he's going to stop doing it. But we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, thank you. talked before, and something funny that came up when we were talking was, you were saying, you know, when I first saw True Blood, when I first saw it, there were some scenes that made me just go, whoa, I had to cover my eyes. So can you tell us a little bit about that experience when you first saw your book brought to life?
HBO was kind enough to send me a copy before the premiere, and I watched it, and you know, some of the scenes I went, oh! And then I called my husband and I said, honey, we're going to have to move.
And I guess you're assuming we all know what those scenes were. Yes. Okay. Now, Sam, we've talked a little bit about how your character's been a little unlucky in love, but we're seeing him right now with someone who he seems to have a lot in common with, Daphne, but we've heard some hints out there that things might not be going so well with that. So what's up with Sam and his future with women? Is he going to find a nice girl?
Well, he gets a little bit lucky with Daphne, you know. But Sam's a real magnet for abuse this year. In a lot of ways. I'm just trying to survive this year, I think, just trying to get by. But Sam's journey in this year and hopefully years to come it really is sort of sparked by his meeting with Daphne and what she teaches him, and whether he grows from that or regrets it. We'll have to see.
Okay. All right. So, Deborah, when we have talked on set, you were telling me, you know, this is really it's your first big television gig. You're not far out of USC, and you were telling me that this cast has really been helpful to you in making a transition into working in television. Can you give us an example of a particular scene, maybe that this audience has already seen, where someone in the cast was sort of a mentor to you or helped you get through something tough?
Sure. Well, I tend to be kind of a nervous person. In fact, I will warn you all right now, I'm a little bit nervous, so I'm currently picturing all of you in your underwear. But I remember in episode 4, Alan had written these beautiful words, and I was very, very sick. I had 102 temperature, and I had completely lost my voice. And I remember working on that and feeling like a total failure, like I wasn't able to give what I wanted to give to it for Alan and everyone who had worked on it. And I was doing a scene with Steve and Anna and Jim, and all of them were just so supportive, and they said, you know, you can be quiet when we do our sides. You don't have to use your voice right now. And then I'd go off in the corner and do a lot of old school theater exercises and just squeezed it out when I got up there. But for me, it's that moral support that really helped me through.
Okay. All right. Oh, I bet a lot of you wish you were sitting where she's sitting. So, Alexander, Eric is just so smitten with Sookie. He has been for a long time, and no matter what happens, he's still so drawn to her. He just can't shake her. Why is that? What's going on there?
Well, just look at her. I'm sorry, Stephen. No, I think Eric's been around for a very long time. He's been around for 1,000 years, and he's kind of over humanity by now. He's seen it all, and he kind of thinks her in general kind of pathetic and naive, and then she comes along and there's something different about her, and I think the fact that he can't really put his finger